Okay, hello. Today we're going to talk about articles, definite and indefinite articles, and how to use them and what they look like and all sorts of fun stuff. So here we have in French articles. What is really tricky for us as English speakers is that in English we don't always use them. So say for example we have I like dogs. In English we can just say I like dogs, but in French you'd have to have some little word right in there to qualify the word dogs. So for us, we're already set up for failure with this concept. So let's take a look. When we have definite and indefinite articles, you don't always need to necessarily know, that it's called definite or indefinite, as long as you basically know how to use them. So if we have a definite article, it's because you definitely know what it is that you're talking about. So let's say you are shoe shopping with your friends and you're like, hey, look at the shoes. Then chances are your friends are going to know which ones you're talking about because you said the word the. But if you said, hey, look at a shoe, then they're just going to, look at any old shoe, not necessarily the one that you want them to look at. So tiny difference, but not an enormous difference, but still. What's tricky for us is that all of these four words here mean the word the. So in English, we have one word, and in French, we have four words. So again, right away, we have a big problem. And every noun, just write this down, noun, every noun has a gender in French, so like dog or cat or house or shoe, whatever it is, has a gender. And so we have to figure out what word matches with that gender. Generally though, if we consult this little chart, it's actually not so bad. So for example, if we have the dog, we know that dog happens to be masculine. So we just look over here for the words the one that is masculine, which is right here, which is le. So we're gonna write in le. We're gonna look up the word dog, which is chien, and then we're done. Not so bad. Same with the word house. House happens to be feminine. So we have to find the feminine word for the word the, which is going to be la. House is maison. And then we're done. Another nice thing is that, let's say there were dogs. Most French words, to make them plural, we just add an S. So if we need the plural form for dogs, for the, we come up here and we find les, and then we just write it next to the noun, les. Where it gets a little tricky is if we have a word that starts with a vowel, then we have to use L apostrophe, because the French don't like the sound that two vowels make. So say, for example, the word school is école, and because school is a girl, I'm going to come up here and I'm going to try and find the feminine word for the, which is la. And in theory, this is generally correct. You'd have like la école, but the problem is that for them, the sound's like la école. You're having like going on like école. So what they do is they get rid of the A, and they put in the apostrophe, so then it just becomes l'école, and it's a bit of a smoother sort of sound. So where this can be a little bit complicated, let me show you an example. So we're in a little triangle. Let's say you're trying to translate the men. The problem is that, let's say the word men, we have the word is masculine, right? And but now we want men, so we're going to pluralize it. So you're going to say, well, it's technically le, so it's masculine. I could use le, and you could be like, well, la is over here. It's only for feminine words, so you could say I'm not going to use la. But then in French, because they have a vowel, or like it starts with an H, but the French kind of treat that as a vowel. Then you could technically be like, ooh, but L apostrophe. Maybe I should use the L apostrophe because it starts with the vowel. So you're like, I could use that one. But then you're like, it's also plural. What do I do? Chaos. So what you basically do is you work your way up the pyramid until you find the answer that best suits the translation. And so up here is the peak that I can possibly get to is les. So then I'm going to have les hommes. Hopefully that makes sense. Right here we have indefinite articles. So again, let's just say instead of the, let's now just erase all my answers here. And I just have a dog and a house, and now it's some dogs and a school. So I'm just going to find the masculine word for which is right over here, and I'm going to go and I just write it in. So now it's un chien. And if I want the feminine word for I'm just going to come over here because, oops, sorry, forgot to tell. Oops. Look at all this fun I'm having right here. This is this means some. Then I find the feminine word for which is right here. It's une. So then I write in une in here. And then if I want to find the word for some, the nice thing is that there's really only one word for some from this chart. So I just write in des. So it's des chiens. And then again, now I have a school, school is feminine. It's right up here. So I'm just going to write in une école. And this is where you might get a little frustrated and say, well, why is it that when I had la école, I had to squish them. And then when I have une, it's still two e's. I don't. It's because the final sound is the n. You hear une, not une. If you heard une, then you'd squish them. So hopefully that makes sense. We never contract une or but we do contract le and la with the L apostrophe. So that is a brief overview of definite and indefinite articles.